Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Rob. Today I'll be showing you how to take off the bumper, the Scion FRS, GT86, BRZ as well. I'm going to be showing you how to fix this right here. What happens with your grill, it's a little offset and you can see it goes back a little bit. You can't quite get it into place while it's still on. Okay guys, so the first step, you want to get down to taking the bumper off for your FRS. Get it somewhere where you can jack it up, somewhere that's flat. I'm going to be using my garage over here. So let's get to it. So for this job, you don't really need too many things. You're just going to need a 10mm, pretty sure maybe a 12mm. You're just going to need a flathead screwdriver and a Phillips head screwdriver. So here's everything you're going to need. Pretty simple. Phillips head, flathead, 10 and a 12. And that'll be able to get you down, getting you through these bolts here. There's also some on the underside that we'll get to in a minute. So the first step when trying to take your bumper off is you're going to have to get rid of the little side marker lights, which are attached right here, as you can see. To get to these, you're going to have to go in through back here, push in a little tab, and then pull the light out. The easiest way of going about that is to first cut your wheel, and then we'll get down to it. So now that you have your wheel turned, you'll be able to get in here. Let me get a light real quick. Be able to get in here and be able to poke through this little hole right here. If you can see that right up here with the screwdriver, and it'll be able to push out the hole. Alright, so now I'm going to be going in with this Phillips head screwdriver. I'm just going to be poking in like that, essentially, on the tab, and then pulling the light out clockwise because it goes in to a little sheath that goes down like that. So I'm going to be pulling it out like that. Here we go. Just like that. Might seem like a little difficult, but you know, it's hard plastic. You can give it a little muscle. Just going to come out like that. Oh, there goes the pin. We'll grab that in a second. And then you're going to want to spin this counterclockwise and pop it off the little light bezel, just like this. Once the bumper comes off, we're just going to let this hang there. So next, we're going to take out these plastic pins. These top two that attach the bumper are going to be just screwed out with a Phillips head just to get them loose. Then we're going to go in there with a flathead and pop them out. The bottom pin down there can just be used with a flathead to pop it out. Alright, now that we've done one side, we're going to move over to the other side. We're going to cut the wheel the opposite direction and do the same thing. Now that we have that all settled, we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to push out the light. Alright, Now that we have this all set, we're going to use the same Phillips head to push out the top marker light. They're going to use the flathead to push out the bottom pins. Just like that. It's pretty easy. I've done this quite a few times, so I kind of know where to push. There you go. Make sure that if the pin falls out that you're pushing, make sure to just weasel it back in there. You can throw some Loctite in there if you want to make it stick better, but you know, I don't think it's really going anywhere. So once that I've done that, I'm going to spin this counterclockwise again. Take off the light so it doesn't interfere when you're taking off your bumper. There we go. There you have it. Alright, so now that this top marker light is good, we're going to unscrew these bottom two, then we're going to pop out the bottom one with the flathead. Ooh, cover down the light here, put that down so you can see it. I'm going to screw this top one, just get it loose. Do the middle one, screw it out, get it loose. Then we're going to go in here with your hands, you can even wiggle some of them out, pop it out pretty easily. Do the same thing for the middle one. This one's a little stuck. Gonna screw it out a little more. And pop that out nice and easy with the flathead. Alright guys, now that we have both the side marker lights undone on either side, I'm gonna have to back out my car or pull it out, and I'm gonna have to get some boards under there so I can jack it up. So I don't right now have a low profile jack, but that will be soon to come, I'm sure. So bear with me while I try to get this thing up onto boards. Alright guys, so this next step I'm going to have to do since I've lowered. I'm going to have to get some boards under here just so I can jack it up. Inside of my garage is kind of fractured here, so I'm going to line it up as best I can with the tires. I usually do the ramp method like this, so it just kind of picks up onto it instead of doing the opposite of this, because usually it will just kick out the boards. It's better to make a ramp for it as opposed to something it can just rock on and then shoot out at the end. Especially if you're doing the back wheels. The front wheels, obviously you're not going to see this issue since it is in fact a rear-wheel drive car. Line them up as best as you can with the wheels and make sure that both the boards you're using are lined up and about evenly spaced here so that you're not going up on one board when you're not going up on the other. Let's get it. Alright guys, so as you can see, since I'm lowered, I'm going to have to get my car up on these ramps so I can then jack it up. So let's get it. Alright, so when you're getting your car up onto boards, one thing to make sure of is make sure the boards don't go too far back, because then you won't be able to get your jack stands and your jack in there. Alright guys, so whenever you're working on your car and you're going to be underneath your car, you should always use jack stands. You never know when your lift or your jack is going to fail. You know, sometimes you could get them at a cheap auto store where they might not be of the best quality, so you definitely want to not risk losing your life and spend 20, 50 bucks on some jack stands so that in case your jack fails, it falls on this and not you. So here we go. So for right now, while we work under the car, we're going to take the boards out. Just give us some more room to work. We're going to do that on both sides. Hey guys, so now that we have the car up on jack stands, we're going to now take off the front bumper. So first start, you're going to want to pop your hood because there are things, bolts, pins that you have to get to from under your hood. Sorry about that. So here we are, pop the hood. Put this down real quick so I can latch it up. So as you can tell, it's under the hood, got that boxer engine. And along this front line here, let me get a light. You're going to see a bolt there you're going to have to take off. Bolt there. Snap pin. Bolt. Snap pin. Bolt. And then a bolt there. So that's just for the upper side. And before we can get the front bumper off, we're going to have to go up into this little nook right up here. As you can see, there's another little plastic pin. And we have to pop that out on this side and the other side before we can start undoing the bumper from underneath. So right now guys, I'm taking a flathead and I'm going to go up in here, right on this black metal bracket. I'm going to move this kind of out of my way. I'm going to pop this pin out because this is holding the bumper on to up here. Alright guys, so before I get to the bottom, I'm going to just loosen these top 10 mils. Just a quick few screws should get it pretty loose. It'll pop it right out. Make sure you don't lose all these because, believe it or not, you will have to put them back on if you want to put your bumper back on, or else it'll just be flapping around in the wind if it's just stuck using these pop pins. So you want something a little bit more concrete to hold them in. You can do this with a ratchet, but I did in fact lose my 10 mil for my ratchet. Got to get another one. I'm sure everybody watching knows that kind of grind. So I'm just going to move this over here. Give you some more light. So, oh, that is not one of them. There we go. This one's a little stuck on. So, there are 5 10 mils on the top, 2 on either side here, here, and then there's one here in the middle. There are also 2 pop clips, one right here and one right here on the other side that you're going to have to remove. So now that these screws are out, there's one last one right over here, and we'll finish up with that. Now the next tricky part is actually getting these pop clips out without losing them in the engine bay. So you want to be super careful with these 2 on top, because if they go flying, you may never get them back. Alright, now you're going to want to grab your flathead, and ever so carefully, you're going to want to pop these out. Ooh, just turn the light off. I like to put it in and kind of turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, and it usually pops the top pin right out instead of doing it super aggressively like I was with the other ones. So I'm going to try this one over here. Pop it out the same way. And that one came out without a issue at all. Thought I might have hit my camera lens, my screwdriver there, but looks like we're all good. So in case you guys forgot what this video is all about, it's pretty much me trying to fix my pesky bumper. This thing is always coming loose. It's never been this bad before, but I tried to fix it by just moving around in there, pulling out the bumper a little bit, and I just couldn't get it. So I'm gonna have to take the whole bumper off. So guys, I don't know if you'll be able to see this very well since I'm literally laying on the ground, but when taking off your bumper, these screws are for my lip. But this here is the furthest one back that holds it on. Then there is this metal bolt there's a plastic pin here, a plastic pin here in the middle, which is actually, mine is scraped right off for being low, so don't have to worry about that one. This plastic screw here, bolt over here, and then the same for pop clips on that side. So there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plastic clips and 2 metal bolts that you're gonna have to undo. So without further ado, let's get down to it. And it's a little further in, but it connects to a little pole that sticks out here. So it's not quite this far one back, but it's up into the middle a little bit. I'll get a better angle once I pop this one out. So again, kind of prying it, and then you can pry from the base once the top is popped out. As you can see here, I've got it out pretty much, and there you go. So this one isn't the one back here, that's for my lip, but it's up and towards the front of the corner a little bit. So I'll get a better angle on the other side. This is what I was talking about on the other side. I thought this was for the bumper. I haven't done it in a while, but that's actually for my lip. It's actually this one right here towards the front. There's a little beam that connects it to the bumper, so we're going to get this one in progress. Let's see if I can get this lined up well. The last two things to do are this right here and this right here. I just got that final one off. I had to kind of move my bumper out a little bit because, as you can see, the hole doesn't quite match up if it's not in line. So now that all of things are unattached, you can see it's kind of moving around. It's making some noise as I pull on it. But once we get everything off, all the 10 mils and everything, we're going to just pull the bumper off from the front, make a little bit of a noise. Just kind of gotta give it a little loving, a little pushing. And as you can see, she's starting to come. So guys, since I don't want this to happen anymore to my bumper, I'm not only gonna fix it, but I'm also gonna add some glue, maybe some Gorilla Glue, to those little tabs so that, you know, it doesn't keep happening and I won't have to do this every couple of weeks. So let's go to that. So since I have it here, I'm probably just going to take off all of the tabs. At this point, there's really not too many left on there. As you can see, this whole side completely coming off, so whoop, there you go. Popped right off. Here you go, here's your piece. Honestly, if you're trying to be pretty JDM, you can just take it, leave it right out if you like that look, but for right now, probably just gonna redo these little pins here, and I'm gonna glue it back so that it doesn't keep happening. Alright guys, since it's pretty cold outside, it's probably like 35 degrees up here in Mass, just brought my bumper in, work on this inside a little bit. First, I'm gonna clean these off, just because as you can see it's pretty dirty. Just gonna get a wet paper towel and wash that off so the glue that I put on adheses a little better to it. And then I'm also gonna clean off this piece as well. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so real quick I'm just gonna get some wet paper towels and wash off these tabs real quick. Alright guys, so I'm just going to start to work in and press the tabs in from one side to the other. Then I'm going to go around and put some of the plastic surgery on each one of the tabs so that it doesn't have any chance to pop back out like how they're known to do. So make sure you have all tabs all the way down. Make sure they've got the clicks in. Should be good. Now I'm going to apply this to the outside so that it doesn't force itself back out. So I'm just going to squeeze this out on each one of the things, and it says let sit for 5 to 15 seconds. So let's see how it goes. This on, I'm going to screw this back on here. And for now, that should be a wrap. Guys, so now that it's dried, you can see it goes all the way around. There's no cracks on either side. You can see right through. It's all attached all around. And now we're going to throw it back on the car. So guys, to get the bumper back on, we're going to start with this foam piece. You're going to throw it up on it. It says up. Put it up like this. Throw this through here. And it should just kind of sit there. It's probably not going to go too far. But when putting it back on, you might want someone to help you with the bulbs. Or you're just going to want to put the bulbs in first, and then you're going to want to take the bumper and put it back on yourself. So let's get the bumper. Alright guys, so now that we have the bumper back, we're going to want to move this relatively close to the body, like so. We're going to want to, one by one, take this, put it in, and we're going to turn it clockwise. We're going to go over here, do the same thing. We're going to turn this one in, put it in clockwise. Once you have those hanging on there, you can lift up the bumper from the beneath, and you're going to want to get these all along here in under the headlight, and you're going to want to do the same thing on the other side. Before you press it back in, you're going to want to take the marker lights right here, and you're going to feed it back through before you put the bumper back on, because then they will be stuck behind your bumper if you don't do this. have your bumper. It's just sitting on there right now. It's not really covered by too much, so I'm going to take this, put her back on top. Now I'm going to get my couple pop pins, and I'm going to get my 10 mil to throw this back on. So before going any further, I like to just test to make sure that your lights are plugged in all the way before fully fastening the bumper. Especially if you have fog lights, they might be a little different. So let's just get in and test the blinkers really quick. Alright, as you can see, they both still work, so we're good to go. Alright guys, so for one of the final steps, I'm going to get under the car. I'm going to put back in the two 10mm bolts, and then I'm going to pop in the remaining couple pop pins, and then we'll get back to putting the side markers on. There's one. Just doing the pop clips first here, since they usually give me the most hassle. This pop clip is a little stuck, so just gonna send it back in there. Make sure all the plastic parts underneath are lined up like how they should be. Mine under here is not quite perfect, but now it's back in place. Alright guys, so for the final steps, we're going to want to put the push pin back up here, which we've already done. Now we're going to put the bottom push pin in, and then the two screw pins in up here. And then we can get this, put the plastic back on, and pop her back in. Then make sure all the pins are still in there. There's 3 of them on the sides. All mine are in there. Then we're going to finagle this down in. Start with the end towards the front of the car, and then just kind of push in sideways, just like that. The pin will have pushed in, and now back, good to go. Now to the other side. Alright guys, now we're back on the other side, throwing this last piece in. You're going to want to put it on, pull it around clockwise, throw this in. Now the front should go in first, same with the other side, and then push it in. We're good to go. And that's, guys, how you change your bumper on your FRS and get this pesky grill piece back in line. Alright, if you guys like the video, like, subscribe, leave a comment, ask me what else you want me to see on the FRS, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. See ya.